Since the start of the Ukrainian war in 2014, from both sides of the conflict, like from pro-Russian separatists to the Russian army or from the Ukrainian army, we have seen a lot of independent units, brigades or regiments being used by all the factions implicated directly into the conflicts, apart from North Korea, of course. So today we're gonna explore one of them, which is quite an interesting one. So at first, before becoming a brigade of the Russian military, Espanola was a far-right hooligan group based in Russia and was formed as a brigade of the Russian military in spring 2022 during the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And then it became a battalion later in the war. They also participate in numerous famous battles of this war, like the Battle of Mariupol, the Battle of Avdiivka, Bakhmut and Chasiv Yar. Those are the most famous ones they took part in. The most recognizable symbol of this brigade is the Baklanov skull from the 19th century, which, by the way, I have a shitty replica patch of it. Well, on a more serious note, I already talked about it in a previous video, one of my videos about my patches, but it was used like as a symbol, as a flag by the Russian general of the Don Cossacks, Baklanov, during the conquest of the Caucasus during the 19th century. So basically, like I said, it's a shitty replica, so it's not the skull of the Baklanov troops, but basically you have a skull with the bones, and it's written, if I'm not mistaken, I will wait for the life of the next century, and I will wait for the dead to come back to life. Which is a pretty metal slogan, if we are being honest. This is really sick as fuck. Also, on their flag we have a pistol, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Makarov pistol made in the Soviet Union. We can also see during some events, like football events, some flags with hooligan symbols, and also Kosovo is Serbia movement. Since Russia and Serbia have a strong alliance since a long time. Well, also one time, I can't really find the source now, but I saw one of them on his backpack used the Kornilov regiment patch, which was actually a regiment made during the end of World War I by the Russian Empire, but it was mostly used by the Russian Republic and the Russian White Movement during the Civil War. They were created in 1917 and fought during the whole Civil War, and basically disappeared in 1921-1922. So one of them used that on his backpack, but I can't really find the source. Sometimes we can see also the Soviet banner of victory and of course the Russian Empire flag, since they are nationalist. Well, for the equipments and uniform we can basically see almost everything. It can go from EMR camo, even if it's became rarer and rarer. We also ATAC FG, average multicam, and also sometimes just regular tactical clothes, or just clothes without camo but just tactical velcro or patches. It go for the same for plate carrier and helmets. They have really like a big mix of equipment and weapon in the same brigade. We also saw them using motorcycles, like a lot of units on both sides, and they also use drones for reconnaissance and of course for destroying or incapacitate enemy soldiers or enemy position, or even civilian instructors. You also have to know that the Espanola brigade is mostly a reconnaissance and a sabotage brigade, so they are mostly there for light attacks and destroying the rear of the enemy. On the 18th of December of 2025, the leader and creator of the Espanola brigade was found assassinated by Russian police in Crimea. At first there was like many theories how the guy died. Some people said that it was like some pro-Ukrainian who shot him, but now it's basically known that it's the Russian police who shot him. But like there is two theories that I heard of it. One is that he was in the middle of like drug trafficking and got caught and had a firefight with the police, and there is another one who said, which is kind of reasonable, I think. It's like basically since the Wagner coup attempt in 2023, Russia became really sensible to all these how can I say, independent unit in the Russian military who can gain political power, influence in the Russian army, equipment and training without being really in the Russian army. So they can be scared of like the guys trying to take over the Russian government like the Wagner group tried in 2023, and we saw how that went. Prigozhin died with also the other leader and creator of Wagner group. So I think it's the more reasonable reason that they basically kill him, so like it can send a warning to all the other units and everything. And since basically the death of Stanislav Orlov, the brigade really became more silent and was finally all disbanded. In 2025 it was disbanded, and some guy left and other ones were like just integrated inside of the Russian military in other groups. So we can say that it was a pretty interesting brigade. We had MMA fighters, crazy hooligans, ultra-nationalists fighting in the same brigade. They had everything, battles, blood, fear and everything, and their hand with the death of their leaders. So like I just said, their legacy will be remembered as like crazy MMA fighters, crazy hooligans and nationalists and ultra-nationalists united themselves for just like mostly the love of the fight and the love of their motherland, if we can say that. And so even though their leader met a tragic end, it was still a pretty interesting brigade, even though it's one of those multiple independence unit of the Russian army, of course. So thanks for watching this video. It's one of the videos I worked the most on it, and I'm really proud of the result, and see you for the next one. And also the next one will be a historical one, because I kind of have like a modern phase. Now it will be, the next one will be something about medieval or like old Russia. See you guys, and remember one thing,